Hey, what's up, y'all? Hope you guys are all having a good day. I've been getting a lot of comments on my recent videos, kind of asking my opinion on the current state of fighting line. Is it viable? Should I use it? So I thought I'd just get a quick video out, kind of just giving you my general thoughts in the new sandbox. So I think the best place to start is probably where I left off on my last commentary video, where I was really worried about the state of line post-nerf, where I even went as far to say that I believe the gun would just be unusable post-patch. However, after playing with the gun and after the changes, I have to say that a nerf was definitely needed, or else the fighting line would have been massively broken in the new sandbox. Um, After I made that video and after the patch came out, I watched the DCP live interview with a Bungie developer named Mercules. And I firstly just want to say that it was really refreshing to hear an active Bungie developer communicate about their balancing philosophy beyond just reading it in the TWAB like we always have been. I didn't watch the whole thing because I'm a zoomer with low attention span, but I did see what he said about the Fighting Lion. And if you haven't seen it, I'll quickly sum it up for you. Mercury said, let's see, yeah, he said that they test out the fighting line in checkmate with a 10% nerf and the health bump, and that the community just spammed it for the first few weeks. He also said that the community thought the weapon was killed with these changes. People like me, I definitely thought it would be unusable after the changes. And he refuted that point by saying that the less special uptime in the new sandbox needed to be taken into account. He also went on to say that they are willing to visit the fighting line in the future if no one was using it and it was dead in the water. Um, so that's kind of the gist of what he said. He didn't speak much on it, maybe like a minute, 2 minutes about the fighting line. But after hearing that, I first want to just say this publicly that Mercules was completely right, and I was wrong with my initial assessment. The nerf to the gun didn't kill the gun. If you really spec into specific builds like my Fighting Line SMG and you're a really high skill player, then you can get a lot of value out of the gun still. As you a lot of you guys have seen from my previous two trials videos this past week. I do find it kind of hard to agree though with this point about everyone spamming Fighting Line during checkmate though, as I tried it out for over 50 games of trials and I played maybe four people using it and all of them went hard negative and didn't do anything, and most of them were just cope swaps, from playing against me. But that was just my experience. I assume the guys at Bungie have a lot more data to back up their reasoning. So with all of that out of the way, let me finally get to, the main topic of the video, which is the fighting line viable in 2024? And my answer to that is yes, but also no. Let me explain. I think if you run Rain of Fire Exotic Boots on Solar Warlock and play with an SMG like you saw in my video, then you can have some success. However, there's just so many other guns in the games, 120 hand cannons, auto rifles, scout rifles, that give so much more value and are way easier to use in this current sandbox. Um, to make the line work, you really, really have to be a highly skilled player when playing against good players. Obviously, if you play against average or below average players, you can pub stomp them with Lion, right? But you can do the same with any of the other meta busted weapons that I mentioned previously. So I think it was the right idea from Bungie to over nerf Lion on release because, it is an obnoxious weapon to play against. I can definitely understand that. And if it was too strong, it would completely undermine what Bungie was trying to achieve with this update, which is encouraging more primary fights and taking, less of the bullshit out of the game. With that being said, now that the changes have actually been made, I do think that the fighting line needs a slight buff. I believe a good compromise, personally, to bring fighting line back to a more balanced state would be a 5% buff to damage, plus or minus 2 or 3%, even a 3 or 4% buff would be huge at the high level. I don't think these changes are really going to make the gun OP or oppressive, as it'll really only change the time to kill of players who can consistently hit the direct blast radius shots. Um, and I think that would really help the gun out a lot and not push the needle too far. So I'd be interesting. Bungie said they're open to looking at the fighting line in the future. That would be my personal recommendation. I think it does need a little bit of a buff. Um, but yeah, that's that's kind of my opinion. That's kind of it. I don't want to ramble too much. But before I go, I do want to kind of mention this. There are a lot of you guys who said that you hated the changes and that it killed your love for the game. And I can't disagree with that point. I'll be honest. If I wasn't doing YouTube, I probably would play the game less. Um, because I'm still not convinced that this is the right direction for the game in the long term. It is kind of fun right now because it's new and I'm not getting sniped as much and it's fresh, but I am a little concerned about the future still. But the Bungie devs aren't going to go back on this, right? So we just have to, push forward. And that's what I'm going to be doing in my future videos. I'm going to focus on the future of the sandbox rather than the past. And I'm just going to try and give you my own personal opinion on what I think would make the game more fun and balanced overall. So if you made it to the end, I appreciate you hearing out my opinions. If you agree or disagree, please let me know in the comments below. These opinions, like I said, are just my own. Everyone plays the game for a different reason, and yeah, that's that's enough yapping for me. Thank you guys for watching, and I will see y'all this weekend for more Trials content. Peace.